So 5-6 years ago, I walk into a museum in London, okay? And I start off with the General Lees and the Minis and like alien cars and Plymouth Daytonas. Like they have quite literally the most exquisite mix of American and custom cars in the UK. And as I'm walking around this collection of cars, at the back, hidden in a dark, dark room, in a dark, dark corridor, is a dark, dark Batmobile, right? 1980s Batmobile, 4-foot wings on the back, turbochargers the size of my head, and I've got quite a big head, hanging off the side, okay? A roof part that you press a button and just slide it forward to reveal some of the most amazing aeroplane gauges and switches like you've never seen in your life. Like I can imagine that 92 out of the 140 switches don't do nothing, but it looks the part, right? So this car left something in me. It left me a feeling that although I've never watched a Batman movie or a Batmobile film in my life or any episodes on these cars at all, I know after having the Lykan Hypersport, the Dodge Chargers and all the eclectic mix of movie cars I've had, including Lightning McQueen, one of the last cars missing is a Batmobile. So the museum shut its doors about sort of 4 or 5 years ago now, and a lot of the cars went out to Miami to a museum. But some of these cars, I don't know what happened, got stuck into a lawsuit, and they've been floating around the court system for a number of years. And I know there's a Ferrari pickup truck that I know Mr. Rattarossa himself is probably want to get his hands on. There is a Mr. Bean Mini. There is a Batmobile, and there is a Danton Arts Porsche with a Bentley V8 hanging out the front of it. Like there is quite a collection of cool cars. So basically about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I'm in a position where my business involves me now buying and selling normal cars, as well as the eclectic mix of weird stuff that I build on the side. So this Batmobile turns up on auction, right? So I turn to my wife and I say, hey, there's a Batmobile for sale and I need it. I don't want it, I need it. Like my whole life will not be complete. I will not be able to turn up to my government property in my rough council estate in a Batmobile without feeling like complete, you know? And she said, but why do you want it? Tell me one reason. You've never watched a Batman film, yeah? You've never, been involved in much fancy dress much, right? So how is a Batman car going to fit into the realm of Sam Hard? You're normally Fast and the Furious, Lykan Hypersports, and this other stupid stuff that you don't need. I said, well, all I want to do, babe, right, is I want to do a 20-point turn into McDonald's, go up to the window with a very expensive latex mask on, and go, bang back. That's all I want. That's all I want in my life. And she was like, okay, do what you got to do. So she let me sell most of my stuff. I got £45,000 together, got it all in the bank ready. And there's a bit of a funny twist to this story. So this actual car was up for sale 2 years ago at Bonham's auction, right? And once again, I got 30 grand together and I was the highest bidder at £22,000. 5 hours before the end of the auction, like clockwork, all the cars were pulled under a high court ruling. So whoever previously owned these cars must have sort of said, hey, they're my cars, but waited strategically to make the auction house look completely stupid because these cars have been up for sale for like 2 weeks, 14 days, and now in the last 5 hours they pull them. So this is like 2 years ago in the middle of lockdown, I was trying to buy it. The whole stars realigned, they've come up for sale, and now I've got more money. So I've actually got more of a chance to buy the Batmobile, right? So I'm winning it at 32 grand. Life is good today. I even bought myself a stupid latex mask, even though I haven't got the car, yeah? 5 hours before the end of the auction. Have a guess what? High court ruling, pull all the cars again, and I'm left with a load of money in the bank and depressed because now I've got to go and buy a McDonald's in a stupid latex mask and a Citroen Saxo. Not as cool, quite underwhelming, and do you know what? One day I will get my Big Mac car, the Batmobile. So at the same time of me trying to buy the Batmobile, I basically had my eye on a lot of other cars. There's one man in my life who I want to meet, and that's Rowan Atkinson. If it wasn't for Rowan Atkinson, I wouldn't be the eclectic, weird chap I am today. I got my wife and my children to thank, because of that man. Growing up watching the Mr. Bean series, you see a man who on TV can act professional, speak politely, can put etiquette in everything he does. But as soon as he gets on camera and gets into a character, he can be this fun, outgoing, idiot in the room who everyone loves. And through watching him throughout my whole life, it kind of made me silly. It made me the class clown. It made me, at some points in my life, stand there and be professional and speak properly. But on the same hands, be the class clown, be on top of a pool table, getting thrown out of a pub. But on the same hand, without him being a character in what he did, I wouldn't be who I am. So when the Mr. Bean car came up, I kind of assumed that everything in my life had come together, right? Because my idea, back in the 80s, they had this amazing film called Knight Rider, where David Hasselhoff, with his majestic locks, drives around in a car that talks, right? So I went out and bought myself a Knight Rider car too, which is quite cool. And then what I did was I developed the driver's seat. So I took the driver's seat apart, right? And the PMD seats in these cars are what the style was. So the most top of the range Trans Am you could buy in the day had beige PMD interior, which was basically a cloth seat with a hole in the middle and a PMD or an AMD badge right in the middle of the seat. So what I did was I took my seats apart and I had them copied, the seat covers, yeah, with a mesh. Because what you can see in the early movies is when the car's driving around with no one in it, there's actually a man sat in the driver's seat, yeah, with a seat cover over him, and he's looking through the vent. So what I did was I took my driver's seat out of my Knight Rider car and made a seat so I can drive around in my car and pretend that no one's driving it because I'm actually sat in a seat frame with a seat cover. So my idea with the Mini, right, is that I'm going to transfer the steering wheel to the back of the seat through the driver's seat, right? So I can sit and drive the Mini in the back of the car, yeah? But my friend will drive the car in the back of the car with no tints on the front window, so the car will look like it's driving itself, with the steering column attached. So when it turns left, the steering wheel will turn left and so forth. I will sit on the roof in a leather chair with some rope and some paint cans and pretend to drive the car around Sloane Street in London. No, you may have the best Koenigseggs, the Zondas, and all these amazing eclectic mix of £1,000,000 cars, all right? But you do not have a Mr. Bean car driven by Sam Hard on the roof with stupid blonde hair and Ugg boots. No, you don't, my friend. I'm going to drive around Sloane Street with my Mini, like this, with my mate sat in the back of it, and probably get arrested and lose the car. But, you know what? I didn't win the car. It got pulled for a High Court ruling 5 hours before the end of the bid. But what I've done now is I bought a Mini and I'm building it myself. Because you know what? If you can't beat them, join them. And if I can't buy the car I want, I'm going to make it. And then one day I'm going to bump into Rowan Atkinson, tell him how much I think he is a majestic chap, and get him to sign the car. And maybe he'll ride on the top while I'm driving it. You know, there's no saying to what's going to happen. Crazier things have happened. That's the story of me trying to buy a Mini, which didn't happen, but I ended up buying one, and I'm still an idiot in Ugg boots with blonde hair. It'd be fine.
When you get a ticket, no matter where it happens, it's more important than ever to fight every one. And the perfect partner in that fight is the Ticket Clinic. When you get a ticket, you're facing costly insurance premium increases, points on your license, fines, risk of suspension, jail time, and they can help you avoid all of that. They've got offices in Florida and in California, but they can help you fight a ticket through their network of attorneys no matter where in the United States you get one. You can text a picture of your ticket to 305-305, or you can check them out now at the link in the description below. So thank them for their support of VINwiki, of CarTrek, and fight your ticket with the Ticket Clinic.